everybody, Ethan here with Standing Stone and the guy with the pink gun. Gloves, huh? A little bit different video. If you're here, you notice the title. We are docking tails and removing Dewclaws. This video is designed to be informative and show you the process and how we specifically do it. My disclaimer to start with is I would recommend that you work with your vet specifically. I have been taught this and have a lot of experience. Please do not watch this video and reach out to me. You need to work with your vet directly. Now, about the process, there's a lot of controversy around whether docking tails should be done or not, as well as whether Dewclaws should be removed or not. Now, for us specifically, we breed German Shorthaired pointers, and the GSPCA, or the German Shorthaired Pointer Club of America, the breed standard says a docked tail. So that's rule number one, or reason number one, excuse me. The more important of the two is we do it for the safety aspect of things for the dog itself. Working dogs, which is what we have, there's a pretty high chance of them actually injuring their tail. And because they're whippy and long and that injury takes a long time to heal, can get infected. And I have seen firsthand an infection dogs struggle with so much that they actually had to have their tail amputated at a much later point in life. And that was not good. Okay. So it's better to do it now and prevent a lot of long-term issues down the road. The last piece with that is a lot of people say that it's actually illegal in other countries, which is the case, unless you have working dogs. There are exceptions in most of the countries that it is outlawed, that if your dog is actually a working dog, you can still do a docking process. But in America, there are no issues, and those are the reasons around tail docking. Now, on to Dewclaws. It's a pretty 50-50 split situation. There are studies that show arthritis issues by removing that. They say it's technically a thumb and could actually save your dog's life to climb out of ice. I personally have not ever seen any of our dogs that have had Dewclaws or other dogs that have Dewclaws be able to utilize Dewclaws that way, nor have I seen our 10, 12, 14, 16-year-old dogs struggle with arthritis in those specific issues or those specific areas. So outside of what you would consider to be normal for a 16-year-old dog. Now, all of that being said, I have seen firsthand a dog that did have Dewclaws running through the field, rip them off. And that was a very bad deal. It was drastic. It took a long time to heal, and it was a mess. So all of those things being said, we feel that it is in the best thing that we can do at this current point. We're always looking and trying to learn more, but at this current point, we remove Dewclaws and dock tails. I'm going to show you what that process looks like now. If it's not something you're interested in continuing to watch, please move on to another video. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the first puppy here. What we're going to be doing is, this is a 3-day-old puppy, and the time frame that you want to be doing this is basically right at day 3. There isn't much room for that. Some people say as much as 5 days, but I found that day 3 is the best day to do it, which is why we always do day 3. Now, what we're going to start here is by disinfecting both Dewclaw areas. We're utilizing chlorhexidine, and I just spray those down and spray down the tail. And then as far as the tail itself goes, we're going to be docking at approximately the 40 to 50% mark. We want to stay just over the 40% mark, which is what is listed as breed standard. But when you band them, which we're using an elastic cord here to tie off the tail, it can slide between the vertebrae. So if you try and stay right on that, you can end up too short. And we try and stay basically just beyond the 40% mark. So when we start this, you're going to slide it over the tail and make a single tie. And then kind of evaluate if we're at that 40 to 50% mark. And then all we'll do from there is tighten this down. And it needs to be about as snug as you can possibly make it without breaking the cord. So we'll put a double knot in it and then trim it short. And that is the end of the banding process. This tail tip here should fall off in approximately 3 days. If it doesn't, you didn't tie it tight enough. So it is important to get it very snug, and it will fall off pretty dang quick. Now, as we move into the Dewclaws, we're going to use some forceps. And this is something that I found. I've got a little bit bigger hands, so it works. But if I basically create a bridge over top of the puppy, I can hold them and know exactly where they're at with my hand. And then I'm going to use my thumb to apply a little bit of pressure behind the puppy's dewclaw itself. That pops that claw out so that we can have access to it, and then cuts off the blood flow to that area for a short period of time here. We're going to grab the dewclaw and pinch that off, and then you actually just scrape the dewclaw off the top there. We'll leave that clamp for just a second, and then we'll utilize a silver nitrate stick just to make sure that we don't have any bleeding, and then we'll switch to the other side. Okay, again, popping that toe out. And then silver nitrate stick there, and the puppy is finished. Yes, there is a little bit of squeaking. Obviously, that's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it only takes a few seconds and then it is done. Like say here, the tail will fall off in a couple days. Keep a close eye on them, and then also just keep an eye on the Dewclaws. We always do them all and then check at the end to make sure that no one is started bleeding. It rarely happens, but does on occasion. And if that's the case, you would just utilize another silver nitrate stick, and then they are done. The reason that we don't cut the Dewclaws, that we actually do the tearing process, is that is supposed to bleed less from a surgical standpoint. And all of that being said, that is one puppy. It takes a second. I'm going to work through the rest of the litter. I hope that this helps. I hope that it doesn't just stir the pot. And if you have questions, again, and you're going to try and do this yourself, please reach out to your veterinarian directly. Outside of that, I hope this information was valuable to you. I'm the guy with the pink gun. We will see you in the next video.